22nd.
Hello? Okay.
Good morning. We're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. Welcome to the March 4, 2021 meeting for the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair of the Board of County Commissioners, also representing District 2. Joining me today is Commissioner Bill Rippon, representing District 1. Good morning. And Commissioner Aaron Mays, representing District 3. Good morning.
Morning.
Before we begin, just as a matter of public notice, and I'll say this again at the end of the meeting, the Shawnee County Health Department has released the latest scorecard for Shawnee County, showing us dropping to the next level. And given that we have dropped to the next level, on Monday we will be returning to the Shawnee County Courthouse for our meetings, and those will be done in public at the Shawnee County Courthouse in the basement, where our commission chambers are located. Due to the size of the room, if we do have excess people, we have video set up in the lobby of the commission, as well as the cafeteria that has that set up as well. So we have multiple areas for people to be at. But I do want to make a public announcement that on Monday, we will be returning back to the Shawnee County Courthouse for our meetings. Madam Clerk, our first item.
Our first item is item 3, consent agenda.
There are 3 items on the consent agenda. Is there a questions or discussion or a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, today we've got a voucher for $460,307.74. 2 items of note under there. One, under the Health Department is $3,974. That's for the malpractice insurance for Dr. Locke. And then under Sheriff, we've got Vertiv Corporation for $20,368.80. That's for prevention maintenance for the emergency uninterrupted power supply at 3 tower sites. I don't have any questions about these, and I would move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B, Department of Corrections number 1, consider approval of request to pay $31,823 to Foley Power Solutions for the emergency repair of a generator and the rental of a generator while the repairs are being made, and approval to utilize the contingency funds for any expenditures not paid by insurance.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. These next 2 items, this and the next item, are related to the same incident. On Tuesday, February 16th, the Department of Corrections suffered a power outage that lasted for about 2.5 hours. To my understanding, we still don't know what the power outage was due to. We were told it was rolling blackouts, and we were told it wasn't a rolling blackout, so neither here nor there, we don't know what the actual cause of it was. But for the Department of Corrections, when we do go into a power outage, we rely heavily on generators that allow us to do our backup, to allow us to maintain our camera systems and things like that. Well, with this situation here, one of our generators did not work, and we had to call in our vendor. They came in and found out that a system part of that generator was not working, and that they had to get the part, which that has been completed as in, I believe, today. I do have Major Eve Kendall here to answer any specific questions, but during that time we had to rent a generator. So this goes to the emergency purchase to make, so we were able to maintain our operations during that time, and we were. And just ask for your approval. And the funds, I did talk to Betty regarding this, would come from contingency.
Commissioners, any questions?
I have one question. Do we test our generators on regular basis, like once a month, or?
Yes, I'll have to ask Eva on that one.
Betty Greiner, Director of Administrative Services. I just wanted to amend this a little bit, that anything that can be collected from insurance will cover the cost first. Anything that's not covered by insurance would come from contingency.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Eve Kendall, Department of Corrections. Sir, we test our generators weekly. We put a load on them monthly, and then we do the annual max load test annually as required by the fire inspector. I think the main issue was that it was like -6 below when the generators all just came on, and one of the parts actually froze to where it wouldn't function as needed, and that had the fuel go down into some areas it shouldn't have, and so we had to basically flush it all out and replenish the fluids in it, and they did all that, and it has been completed as of yesterday. We're just waiting to have the rental generator picked up today, hopefully.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Yep. I'll move for approval.
I'll move second, but I would note that we are going to utilize insurance claims and then contingency funds, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So motion made by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B2, consider approval of request to pay $27,604 to Sound Products for the emergency repair to replace 11 cameras and 24 port switches, and approval to utilize the contingency fund for any expenditure not paid by insurance.
Good morning again, Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. Based off the same incident, we had numerous cameras and things that did go down, and as Betty had indicated, anything that would not be paid out of insurance would go through the contingency funds, and we're slowly but surely getting all of those cameras. Are they back up, Eve?
I'm sorry, everything has been ordered. We're waiting on the supply to come in, and then we will have the cameras back up and the switches. We had a camera switch also go down, which has, I think, like 9 cameras that are attached to it that went down, which also we're waiting on the parts to come in. But they are ordered, and the vendor is ready to put them in as soon as they are available.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions for Brian? No. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B3, consider approval of resolution number 2021-12 in support of stepping up to reduce the number of people with mental illness in jails.
Good morning, Commissioner. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. I'm not just solely coming on as a part of the Department of Corrections, but just one of the members of an Intersect Coalition regarding this request. For historical information that, for many years, Kansas and Shawnee County and the city of Topeka has been on the forefront of assisting those individuals who suffer with mental illness, that unfortunately many of those who do suffer with mental illness come in contact with law enforcement or get involved in the criminal justice system. And we have seen that once that does happen, it does hinder their ability sometimes to get services, to get jobs, to maintain employment, and things like that. And each year, roughly 2 million people with serious mental illness are booked into the jails, and the national average in most jails is approximately about 16% of your average daily population. For Shawnee County, we run closer to about 25. That those who suffer with mental illness, and the evidence shows they tend to stay longer in jail. They tend to wait longer for treatment outside the facility as ongoing. I mean, currently I have some inmates that have waited almost 8 months to 9 months to get to Larned State Hospital for competency. They become victims in jail, and they're very much more expensive to house and a challenge when you're dealing with medication. Shawnee County spends about $25,000 a month on medication, and about 50% of that is set on psychotropic medication. That in cooperation with the Kansas Department of Aging and Disability Service, the state of Kansas is introducing a Kansas Stepping Up Technical Assistance Center, and the goal of this Technical Assistance Center is to get Kansas counties up to speed and getting involved in stepping up initiatives, to set goals and set data, to create data, to find out, to get a good baseline on who is actually going into the criminal justice system and how we can better define and utilize funds and services for those, and define alternatives to incarceration. For those counties who take on the initiative, they become innovator counties. Then in Kansas and in Shawnee County, I believe in being involved in this since 2008, we're already doing much of the work. We're already setting up CIT training, collecting data, have crisis mobile response. We're already having alternative courts. We have crisis centers. And but there's a little left to do, but as mentioned, we already are doing much of the work in Shawnee County. That we conducted a gap analysis to look at different things, which sometimes they refer to that as sequential intercept mapping, but with proprietary names and stuff like that, we just refer to stay with gap analysis. On behalf of the Intersection Coalition, which is chaired by the CEO of Vallejo, Bill Persinger, who is here, working with a great collaborative of team members of Judge Parrish with the District Court, Judge Thadani with the City Court, DA Mike Kagay, Andrea Clark with KDADS. We're setting up the first step to actually beginning this initiative, which is setting in place a resolution. We're not here asking for funds. I'm not asking for a financial commitment today, or neither is anybody here. We're asking that, for me personally, that as a capital city and county, I think this would solidify our commitment to this very serious issue. Shawnee County, the mental health and handling and dealing with the challenges of mental health has been listed in Shawnee County in the top concerns in Shawnee County for some time. And that we're confident that if we can begin this journey, that it can help us down the road with grants, assisting funds, and things like that. I'm going to turn it over to Bill Persinger real quick to be able to provide the foundation of this, because Bill is much more in tune with the mental health side of this, and he's been a wonderful partner to work with, and especially with the jail. So I'm going to turn it over to Bill to talk a little bit about his involvement and stuff like that, and then we can answer any questions about the resolution. Bill? Okay.
Thank you, Director Cole. Commissioners, I am Bill Persinger, Chief Executive at Vallejo Behavioral Health Care, and just honored to be a group of 25 or 30 individuals here in Topeka and Shawnee County. It's not an exclusive club by any means. We've signed on a great number of people to join what we call the Intersection Coalition, the intersection of behavioral health care and the whole of the legal system, courts, corrections, law enforcement, probation and follow-up, and that kind of thing. We do have consumer involvement and folks who are in peer support, and just have tried to create a broad coalition and to help the county move forward. Director Cole's absolutely right. We're doing a lot of the work already, and a resolution today would sure set the top tone and put Shawnee County on the map, literally, as one of the top 10% counties that has agreed to step up and move forward and try to help folks who are mentally ill stay out of jail where it's appropriate and safe. Once they're in jail, have access to care and treatment, and then quick follow-up afterwards for those very important areas like housing and jobs and medication, health care, and other things we can do to help people recover. And there's a great movement going on nationally and statewide for criminal justice reform, and your resolution would certainly give us that mark that we're looking for. Would appreciate your consideration. I'll stand for questions.
Brian and Bill, we have seen the state of Kansas whittle away at mental health and at resources, cutting mental health resources, delays at Larned and getting people evaluations, the shift to the counties for mental health at the jails. 25% of our population is mentally ill. It costs the county taxpayers 3 times as much to house a mentally ill patient as a non-mentally ill patient. Over the last 8 years, we have boosted significantly our taxpayer money that goes to Vallejo for mental health and other mental health agencies, Breakthrough House, the
Family Service and Guidance.
Family Service and Guidance, thank you. Just the initials, Family Service and Guidance, but also looking at programs at the jail, the alternative sentencing court, the social workers at the jail, identifying those mentally ill. When we say that, there's a difference between talking the talk and walking the walk, passing a resolution today is just that, it's just the talk. But Shawnee County has been really active in the forefront of programs over the last 8 to 10 years in trying to reduce that mentally ill and trying to address those gaps that we have in our population, making sure that they can have a stable and productive life. What is it that we are going to get from this resolution more? Where do we go from here?
Commissioners, Bill Persinger from Vallejo. Commissioner, well said, and you're spot on. I think where it goes from here, there are 6 guiding principles in stepping up, and anybody wants to read more and out in the general public or other departments, just stepping up together. .org, or just Google or search bar stepping up. It outlines about 6 target areas, including a data collection, which Director Cole's already started on. We're doing some at the Mental Health Center. It gives us that North Star, Commissioner, to shoot for. That resolution would, but primarily 6 areas: data collection, analyzing how far we can move the needle. Can we speed up and increase treatment? And I think it does really line up all the things that we're doing here in Shawnee County with the mental health court and the CIT program, the co-responder program, services that Director Cole has at the jail, follow-on care that we have at the Mental Health Center and other organizations, bringing into partners like the Rescue Mission and the judiciary to keep moving forward. But I really think it puts up a sign at that intersection that says Shawnee County is open for business in this regard. I know there are initiatives federally and at the state level to increase funding and other resources and assets, create information like the Kansas Stepping Up Technical Assistance Center. They've hired a professional to staff that program. The individual will start in about a week, and we just had great support from the state and from you folks, and I think this would just line our stars up, if you will, to have an impact on people's lives. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. It just seems to me that we need to do more as a community and as the county to get in front of mental illness as best as we can. We may not ever be able to address all mental illness, but that phrase of going upstream. If a person is in the jail, they're already accused of having committed a crime, and there's the potential that there's already a victim or damage, property damage, person damage, and we need to get upstream before that person has committed a crime or alleged to have committed a crime and winds up in our facility. And so just anything we can do to try and get upstream and address those issues, whether they're mental illness, addiction, or other issues.
One of the things, and Bill said it very well, and Commissioner Cook, you brought some very good points. In speaking to our colleagues in Douglas County that's been doing this longer as far as the Stepping Up initiative, they've seen their population in their jail go from about 16% down to about 9%, and they're able to divert funds. I'm not here to say that I'm here to defund the jail by any means, because we do find people that come in here. But I'm hoping that we're able to find ways to, before they get to the jail, to get them these services, and before we get to a very costly alternative. Now, I want to be very clear. This isn't that I'm advocating that people with mental illness don't need to come to jail, because that's just the opposite. There are people with mental illness who do need to be in jail because of the crimes, and there are victims. And we have to be conscientious of that, and that's where we work very closely with the district attorney's office. But we're hoping that we're going to see a decrease in the jail side of this, to decrease the funds there, to maintain the processes and the efficiency in the services there, but to be able to be upstream and to be able to beef up those services.
Okay.
Yes.
Well said, Director Bill Persinger at Vallejo. Commissioners, the number one thing that we've kept in mind as a group and as we operate our individual agencies and departments, public safety. And so we do agree that there is a time for incarceration, but to offer people an on-ramp to recovery at points way upstream if we can, out in the community on the street. And that's what we appreciate about the Topeka Police Department, our Shawnee County Sheriff's Department. is that we have behavioral health staff who are right there on the street with people 24 hours a day to make those early interventions before a crime is committed, before a crime is committed serious enough to result in incarceration. We've been able to provide you some outcome data the last year and a half or so on the co-responder program. We think we've reduced cost and improved people's lives, and I just want to compliment Director Cole and the others on the intersection committee for being there with us all along, and would hope for your support today. In another way, I supported this many ways, but this would set a North Star, but I want to reassure that our eye is squarely on public safety, and much of the Vallejo strategy and mission is around public safety and what programs can we operate that will guarantee that will help address suicide and depression and other forms of problems that we see. So just looking for that North Star today, and to see Shawnee County get on the map. But I will tell you that the state, our legislators, our policymakers are very aware of our work here. My service on the state's Criminal Justice Reform Commission, very good awareness there in detail of what we're doing here in Shawnee County. D.A. Bennett out of Sedgwick County, who chairs that group, and others have been very gracious with their time and learning more about what Topeka and Shawnee County are doing. And in fact, in the 2021 report to the legislature made by the Reform Commission, there are a number of programs listed that operate here in Shawnee County. So we've been very intentional about learning from others and telling others what we're doing here. And like I say, the words in that resolution have deep meaning, and we'd ask you for your support. And I'll defer to Director Cole.
And last, I was just going to say that we will maintain contact with Dr. Locke and the health department, who've been very instrumental, our local hospitals, and Carolyn Jones, and everybody, to make sure that this is a community partnership.
Mr. Mays?
First off, I just want to say I think it's a great program. I'm glad you guys are doing it. I appreciate your hard work on it. But I just have one quick question. Is this exclusively for the adult population, or does it incorporate any of the youth inmates as well?
Initially, yes. When we started some very programs, that there is a desire in Shawnee County to break out adults and juveniles, but this right now will be to center on adults, is my understanding. We're going to focus on there to try to get our baseline, our feet underneath us and stuff like that. And trust me when I say we have a good foundation already, but there is an energy to be able to separate two groups in Shawnee County, one for focus on adults and juveniles, and which is very wise. But right now, this will focus on the adults in Shawnee County and Kansas, but our push is going to be to include juveniles, because we're going to have to.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks.
Commissioner, good. Great question, Commissioner. And Bill Persinger at Vallejo, we do have folks on the Intersection Coalition who represent youth and families. So,
Commissioner Rippon, anything?
Well, yeah, I think this resolution probably makes a shift in the right direction. Ever since the Topeka State Hospital closed, it shifted those people from being at the state hospital to on the street, and then into our jails, and that's not where they belong. And so I think anything we can do to prevent that and make a turnaround would be a step in a positive direction. So,
thank you, sir.
At this time, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution. Is there a second?
second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0. Thank you.
thank you, gentlemen. Brian, thanks, sir.
Our next item.
Item C, Information Technology, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-100-2021, a renewal agreement with the Center for Internet Security to provide network security monitoring and reporting services for the Shawnee County Internet connections at an annual cost of $13,800 with funding from the Information Technology 2021 budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Pat Oblander with the Information Technology Department. This item is the annual renewal for our Internet monitoring service that's provided by the Center for Internet Security. This is an organization that we've partnered with to monitor traffic that's inbound and outbound from the county over our Internet connection, watching for malicious activity that might be occurring. It gives us a real-time picture of any threats that might be popping up that we need to be aware of. They will send us an alert if they see something suspicious and give us a heads up so that we can react appropriately. If you have any other questions about that service, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions? Motion.
I'll move to approve. Or authorize and execute.
Motion to approve, execute is from Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed, reflect that it passes 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Our next item.
Item D, Public Works, number 1, consider approval of request to move forward with the development of final bidding plans and specifications necessary to remove the existing Southeast Laurel Road Bridge and construct a new bridge over Tecumseh Creek with funding from the 2017 to 2031 countywide half-cent sales tax for county bridges.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. Over the past 6 months, we've been looking at the Laurel Road Bridge Replacement or Bridge Removal Project. We've conducted some public outreach. We sent letters out to 95 landholders in the area. We received responses from many of those landholders. The responses were overwhelmingly in support of removal and replacement of the bridge. We've contacted Mission Township Fire Department, School District, and the township. And although those three entities were somewhat neutral, when we got into the technical aspects of the project, we brought a consultant on board, as we normally do. They investigated the alternatives. And it turns out the cost differential isn't as great as we thought it was going to be. And when I first came before you in September of 2020, a significant cost differential was one of the reasons we were exploring the removal. So when I consider the public input, when I consider the cost differential, when I consider other things that I think are important to the community, such as if we built a cul-de-sac on both sides of Tecumseh Creek, the south cul-de-sac is predominantly in a wooded area. I was concerned that this south cul-de-sac would become a location of illegal dumping and illicit activities. So when I considered all that, I felt the best course of action for Public Works was to move forward with a bridge replacement. So with that, I look forward to your questions.
Any questions?
No, but Kurt, you showed me the maps yesterday, and I mean, the acquisition of right-of-way alone, I think, would be difficult. There are a couple neighbors right there, and so I think this is the best course of action as well. So,
Commissioner Rippon?
No comment.
Okay. Are there any members of the public that are wanting to speak on this item? Commissioners, I know that this lies within my district. I've been contacted by a number of landowners and residents that use the road and concerned about transportation. I'm glad that the Public Works Department was able to investigate it, and we were able to come to a resolution. And at this time, I would make a motion to approve the request.
second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Reflect that it passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Our next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
This is in time for any members of the public or department heads to address the commission on any item. And before we do speak, I meant to say at the beginning of the meeting, and I got just so excited about getting started, with the drop in the going from down to the next level, I would anticipate that we will be having discussions next week as well, addressing our health order and looking at changing any restrictions, as that is part of our discussion as we go down in levels. We would have that increase in changing those restrictions. And so just if you are here to speak on that, or if you're a member of the public watching at home, anticipate that next week the County Commission will be addressing the health order and looking at those changes on any restrictions. But Bill Sutton, I saw you were getting up.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. Just like to remind the Commissioners and the general public that this Saturday, March 6th, the Shawnee County Household Hazardous Waste Facility will be open for its Saturday collection event from 9 until noon. They accept all household hazardous waste as well as electronic waste with the free of charge, with the exception of the CRT monitors and TVs, small charge for those. For more information, feel free to call the site itself at 286-4381, and the address is 131 Northeast 46th Street from 9 until noon this Saturday. Thank you.
Hey, Bill,
Yes, sir.
are people able to purchase paint on at those events as well?
We try to limit our purchases on that Saturday just because it can get quite complicated with a lot of customers coming in there. They are free to come in Monday through Friday to purchase that paint if they care to. It's typically $5 for a 5-gallon bucket. And I would call ahead for availability to see what they have already made up.
Okay, appreciate it.
That's a great offer and a great opportunity if you're doing some spring painting, or $5 for a 5-gallon bucket of paint, and it also recycles paint back so it doesn't go into our landfills.
Yep.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Bell, Recreation Program Supervisor, Old Prairie Town and Great Overland Station. Last October, the Board of County Commissioners approved an agreement between AutoCast LLC and Shawnee County Parks and Recreation to implement a mobile application platform to be used to facilitate points of interest at Old Prairie Town and the Ward Mead Botanical Garden. I am here to announce that we have launched the application. I'm very, very proud of the final results. I do want to recognize a number of the staff and volunteers that helped with that application, and I'd specifically like to thank Denise Pettit, Julie Rippon, Linda Cottage for all their hard work on this application. As you will see, it took a tremendous amount of teamwork to get the scripts in place, to get the audio recorded and do the voiceovers and the background noise. So it was really a team effort. The goal behind this application was to create a unique, self-directed educational experience for our visitors. We see a number of visitors that come in at 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. The buildings are closed, and there's not a lot for them to do other than walk the garden and enjoy the park. This is a way that we can engage the users and give them an interactive experience, an educational experience as well. You can download the application at any of the or any of the application stores on your smartphone. And I will plug this in and kind of walk you through a sample of one of these scripts. So let me see if... All right. So again, you can download the application at any of the app stores, and you just click on the icon. It will take you to a number of different locations. I think there's over 200 locations throughout the United States that are using this app. Washburn University is currently using this application for their art exhibit outside of their campus as well. So if you could search Kansas or Topeka, and our site will show up. If you click the icon, there are 19 points of interest that we have placed. So every building and then every predominant location in the garden are represented. I will show you the mansion. So if you click on the Ward Mead Mansion icon, it comes up with this little icon. If you click the green bar, it will have some text. So in addition to the audio history, we do have some language on that. We do have some photos. So we took some photos of the current the building, and then we also were able to implement some of the historic photos that we have as well. And then one of the neat features is if you're in from out of town, it will give you guided directions to access the park and give you the resource as well. So I will show you, or I will let you listen to the script for the Ward Mead Mansion.
My dad, Anthony Ward, kept very busy as a wheelwright because the wagon trails crossed our land. He also held the sand rights on the nearby Kansas River and sold that sand to builders in Topeka. By 1870, he had been successful enough that he was able to start construction of this wonderful home for our large family. Many of the other settlers watched with great interest as it was built. You see, it was the first mansion in Topeka. It took my dad 4 years to finish the house, not because he was slow, but because he had to cut down trees for lumber and make the bricks out of clay. Nothing was easy. In 1874, my parents and my brothers and sisters and I finally moved in. Not long after we were settled, the most terrible thing happened. My dad passed away. He was 62 years old. It was heartbreaking for our whole family. My mom, sad as she was to be without my dad, continued to raise her family in this house. We made so many memories here. Christmas celebrations, summers in the yard, watching the wildlife. From the upstairs bedroom windows, you can see for miles in all directions. There are deer running across the fields, and you can hear all the sounds of coyotes, hawks, and owls. The best thing is spotting an eagle as it flies over the river. Mama lived here until she died in 1897. By then, I had married John Meade, a surveyor from back east, and we inherited this beautiful home. In time, we have made a few changes. The porch and the pillars were added, and we decided to paint the whole house white because John wanted it to resemble the homes he remembered from his time growing up on the East Coast. It is such a grand place for our own 7 children to grow up.
The Ward Meade Mansion was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1975. Many of its furnishings are from the original Ward Meade family and give a peek into the reality of what it was like to live in Topeka, Kansas in the late 1800s.
Very good.
Yeah,
Thank you. That is it. The results exceeded any of my expectations. I had a vision of kind of what I kind of wanted to hear, and they went above and beyond. And I think it's a big addition to our park.
How long did it take for you to get Commissioner Mays sawing wood, just right? No?
No.
It wasn't me.
He was busy that day.
Can't take credit for that part.
If you don't have any other questions, I do have Kurt Laup. He is the vice chair of the Friends of Ward Meade organization, and he would like to just say a couple words regarding to the partnership between the Parks for All Foundation, Friends of Ward Meade, and Shawnee County Parks and Recreation.
Morning, Kurt.
Good morning. As John mentioned, I am the vice chair of Ward Meade, Friends of Ward Meade. We try to provide a lot of extra funding, and we want to thank the county for being so generous as to match that funding. We were able to install an irrigation system, which helped tremendously. 2 summers ago, we wouldn't have had a garden left had we not had that irrigation system. It was so dry. Thank you for allowing me to give you a brief update on what we've accomplished in the last year and what lies ahead. You just heard Don talk about this system. That system was actually 2 years in the making, and it came about as a result of Commissioner Rippon, who was in a different position at that time, suggesting we look at a guided tour, and it's got fantastic possibilities for the department and for others. You can do parks, you can do trails, you can do facilities, and we're set to be the contact point for that to make that successful. We've been busy at Ward Meade over the last year. We renovated the Preston Hale Room, a real nice facility. We had an accessible entrance on the east end. We created a new picnic area north of the house for guests to enjoy. We had Garden Glow, which was a new fundraiser that featured the garden. By the way, I would mention Otocast also includes the botanical garden, which is the first, so they can learn a lot about that too. Thank you for the great partnership that's allowed us to do that. I'm now here to give you information on our future plans. I'm completing a master plan update for the park. That should be done here pretty soon. We'll be locating and securing a jail, and we'll be looking for any volunteers who want to be with us. We may talk to corrections about overflow capacity, but we will have a jail of that time period. We'll begin fundraising for the Senate Saloon. That was our missing piece at Ward Meade. We have a lot of weddings at Ward Meade. We are the inexpensive one, clear up to this facility, which hosts some fantastic facilities, but with the acquisition and John taking over here, we decided to downsize the saloon a little bit. It fits our site better, and we'll have a group probably of about 125 to 150. We were planning on 250 originally, but with this facility, we just don't need to duplicate it. It will go in a site. It will complete the town square of Old Prairie Town with the addition of the jail as well. We feel like it's really going to add a lot, and we want to make a few commitments to you. We commit to being a partner with Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department, Shawnee County, and the Parks for All Foundation. That's what a fantastic funding source that we make deposits to and then take withdrawals from to make these things happen. We'll continue to provide volunteers for the garden. The garden does not have a full-time horticulturist, does not have any full-time people. So when Bob Sadoff calls us, we all respond, and that's how we get our tulips in the ground, our annuals planted, and just generally take care of the garden. We'll continue to improve Old Prairie Town with the Saloon and with the jail addition. We'll continue to support Ward Mead with Garden Glow and Tulips at Twilight. Both of these have been successful fundraisers. And we'll act as a reserve for the Otocast for the department to learn more about it. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them. If not, thank you very much for your partnership.
Kurt, thank you for everything that you do and for the team, the volunteers. Again, this really couldn't come together without all the volunteers of the Old Prairie Town. So, but thank you for what you're doing, and look forward to the master plan results. Commissioner Mays, anything?
No, I'm looking forward to Tulips at Twilight again. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Coming up.
It's a great event. You know, Ward Mead has the best volunteers in town. It's unbelievable. Like you mentioned, there's not a full-time horticulturist or full-time anybody take care of the gardens. It's largely done by volunteers, and that's incredible. If you haven't ever been to the gardens, I can't even express how much effort and work it takes to put to make that.
It from yesterday.
I know that feeling. But I just want to thank all the volunteers and staff at Ward Mead for not only for the gardens, but for all the different programs you have going on. And this new app is incredible. I really like it. Good work. So,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Are there any other individuals wishing to speak this morning?
Good morning, Commissioners. Stephanie Kuhlman, Shawnee County Commission Office. I would like to let everyone know that the latest County Connection newsletter has been published. And I'll do a quick refresher as to where it's located. If you go to our Shawnee County website at www.snco.us, go up to the top, drop-down menu, and select Commission. That lands you on the Commission homepage. On the left side navigation items, you'll click on Newsletter. Makes sense. We always like to begin our County Connection with the Commissioner's Corner. This month, the article is written by Commissioner Rippon regarding the first zoo engaged park. The first zoo engaged park was in existence between 1915 and 1930. It had some pheasants, a few swans, and one raccoon. But soon, people were donating items to the zoo. And eventually, the zoo included a bear. However, this bear would always slip out of his collar. And so someone from and it would roam around the park. So someone from the park department would have to go get his chain and his collar and lead him back to his cage. So this is just one of several little fun facts about the zoo engaged park, so you'll have to read the newsletter to learn more. Parks and Recreation has already begun advertising their seasonal jobs. These are things like the aquatics cashier, lifeguards, camp staff, concessions cashier. I'm kind of interested in this one, is the mini train driver. I think that would be kind of cool. Sports field maintenance, sports manager, camp counselor. So if you're interested, have kids that are high school, college age, this is perfect. You can go to the Parks and Rec website at parks.snco.us or give Parks and Rec a call at 785-251-6800. Here's a little recycling tip from our solid waste department, that not all plastics are created equal. The only plastics that should be recycled in Shawnee County are plastics 1, 2, and 5. All other plastics are to be thrown in the trash. Some examples of plastics 1 and 2 that are recyclable are water bottles, pop bottles, peanut butter jars, milk jugs, 5-gallon buckets, shampoo bottles, and laundry detergent containers. 3 and 4 should be just thrown in the trash, and these are examples like PVC pipe, siding, auto product containers, laundry baskets, used bread bags, and squeeze bottles. Number 5 is recyclable. These are things like yogurt containers, coffee cup lids, straws, kitty litter buckets, and the amber-colored pill bottles. Things you should just throw in the trash in 6 and 7 are the styrofoam cups, solo cups, egg cartons, to-go cartons, toys, sippy cups, CDs, and sunglasses. So some of those I knew, some of them I didn't. So some of our March upcoming events. Parks and Rec Summer Camp registration has already begun. That started on March 2nd. Tomorrow, Lake Shawnee opens up to fishing at 6 a.m. This Saturday, March 6th, the Gage Park Mini Train and Carousel will open. Monday, March 8th, we'll have a Planning Commission meeting here at the Overland Station. Wednesday, March 31st, is the mobile mammography RV that will be in the courthouse parking lot in between us and the city from 8 to 5. It's also going to be here on September 30th, and you do need to make an appointment. So go check out our March County Connection.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
I think you might have to fight Commissioner Rippon for mini train driver. All right.
I will get you back. You won't know when, you won't know where,
It's
but
coming.
you'll know why.
It's coming.
All right. It's coming.
Joke, I kind of want to take a spin on the thing.
I don't know if anybody would want to ride if I'm driving.
Good morning, Commissioners. Under Sheriff Hoodler, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. The sheriff couldn't be here this morning. Wanted to give you just a brief little update on what's going on at the Sheriff's Office, some of the things that have been happening and trending over the last couple of years. In 2020, it was obviously a COVID-affected year. We still served 23,439 process papers, and 4,508 warrants were served through the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. Continuing concern is burglaries and thefts. That's the trend for 2020 and 2021 so far. Again, it continues to be a concern. We are making efforts, as you'll see in some later slides, to get some of that slowed down. Burglaries and thefts to a motor vehicle. Most of these are just crimes of opportunity. Again, I will refer to the lock it, remove it, or lose it. Keep your vehicles locked up. Keep the items of value out of there. The total burglary and theft arrests, as you can see, we've increased the number of arrests we've made here in the last couple of years since Sheriff Hill's arrived, doing a lot more proactive policing, some different initiatives with criminal intelligence. Our investigations unit has done some different things, and just overall everybody at the Sheriff's Office being more proactive. As you can see, we've also had a great increase in methamphetamine arrests. Again, just the efforts of our people that work at the Sheriff's Office. Felons in possession of firearm, again, increased efforts in focusing on these types of crimes and that reoccur and also have a tendency to lead to other crimes. So the amount of firearms we've seized, illegal firearms that we have seized, has increased greatly through partnerships that we have. Now we've started a partnership with ATF to try and expedite the prosecution of these people that shouldn't have firearms. And that's really about it. I wanted to be quick today. Hopefully this is something we'll continue to do, keep the commission updated. I want to thank the commission and all the departments with Shawnee County that we've really developed good partnerships, I think, with and trying to be more proactive. Sheriff Hill is really striving to get out and get more information in and get criminals off the street. That is his focus. And I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Any questions?
No.
Under Sheriff, thank you very much for bringing this to the attention of the commission and what you're doing, and thank you. Keep up the efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other individuals wanting to speak this morning? Commissioner Rippon, anything?
I really don't have anything to add.
Commissioner Mays?
Nothing from me.
I don't know that I have any additional administrative communications this morning. Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 6, executive session.
There is a need to go into executive session this morning. We will go into executive session on personnel matters of non-elected personnel. This is in regards to the health director position for a period of 5 minutes. And then as to matters relating to employer-employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with the representative or representatives of the body or agency, that will be for a period of 15 minutes. And also for the consultation with the attorney for the body or agency, which will be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship on those same issues, for a total of 20 minutes. Give us starting at 9:53. Is this motion made?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? We are adjourned into executive session. Yeah.
My wife
We
takes
we
it.
need, we need to get back in, we need to get back in. We need to
Costs
get back
about
in.
$1 a month, I think, something like that.
We are back in executive session. No action was taken. We are adjourned.